So we're going to use another bumped RH client's car, this lovely little Austin 7. She is now back all in one lovely piece, but yeah, they had a bit of a mishap, but passenger, driver were fine, and the car also is beautifully repaired, looks better than she did before. So thankfully, Austin 7 was with us. So this client received their £10,000 agreed value settlement plus the car. If this Austin 7 had have been insured with one of our competitors on buyback clause, they may have received any amount between 6 to 10, sliding scale, plus the salvage, if they wanted the luxury of buying back their own vehicle. So I always say, buyer beware. Just because you can go online and find a really cheap quote, it doesn't mean you're going to have really robust quality insurance in the event of a claim. You know, I'm sure none of us would put the cheapest tyres on a high performance car. We might go mid-range, more likely top of range, but you know, it's like buying anything for your car. You know, if you're going to buy the cheapest you can find, it you know, won't serve you well. And of course, with Rolls-Royce and Bentley, doesn't really sort of fit either. So, you know, for a quality insurance package that's 60 to 65% of the time is actually going to be really price competitive, but more importantly, it's the benefits and service. You can't put a price on service. The benefits are in there, but it's our service that we feel really sets us apart. And also, actually, just thinking about service, every single week within the RH team, there's myself, Alex, Aidan, Jack, and James. James Kelly is our ops manager. The 5 of us, we have a Teams call once a week, Tuesday, normally 10 in the morning. It's for what we call our VIP renewals call. Any client with a premium over £1,000 that's coming up for renewal within a 4-week period gets assigned to one of us. Now, if I've personally put someone on cover, I make a commitment at the outset. It's me that personally, unless I'm on holiday or under a bus, hopefully not, it will be me at each at each renewal that will handhold and look after them. So, and you know, the same goes for the you know, other 5. And yes, we've only brought the account in-house within 15 months ago. But we're finding this approach is working really, really well, that we can guide our clients. You know, it could be a mid-term adjustment, it could be a claim. Those are the calls we've read, you know, because we've put you on cover, we've met you, probably met the vehicle as well, and then we get the fateful call, something's happened. But again, it will help you. But this, for no other reason, if you go home today and look at your policy wording and you think, well, hang on, it's not clear. And if you phone your insurer, if it is one of these more mainstream or one of our competitors who I haven't mentioned, if you phone them, the standard response to the salvage question, you'll say, can you please tell me what happens to my salvage in the event of a total loss claim? And I've practiced this when I do my mystery shopping. The normal response is, you have first rights on salvage, madam. That sounds great, that sounds good. And I say, can you actually tell me what that means? They said, well, as I said, madam, you have first rights on your salvage. I said, okay, so what if I bump my barrel, my £20,000 silver crowd, and I want her back? They say, well, you've got rights on your salvage. I said, no. I said, on what basis? Is it buyback or is it nil deduction? And then they have to say buyback. So, if you've got any friends who are not here today, next time you're down the pub with them or having them round for dinner, it's worth having the salvage conversation and educating them on buyback.
It's not relevant to us, obviously, but in the scenario of the competitor, who agrees the value in the buyback process? Do they say you can buy it back for £2,500?
It would be insurer's discretion.
Oh, really?
It's down to the insurer. It could be. I mean, I have come across people that have lost and quite a few people up to 40%, even on agreed value. And this is what confused me, because the first few years I was in the industry, I thought what we did was the norm. And it wasn't until I was going out to present and people would stand up and they'd say, well, I was with so-and-so and I only got £6,000, how can that be? And then another year, someone said, well, I got about 6,000, and yet I was on agreed value. And that's when I suddenly realised that what we do is not normal. What we do is very good, but there's something going on over here, this side of the fence, which isn't so good. And they don't make people aware. When you're buying a policy, and for a lot of people it is price focused. Insurance is not the sexiest subject. People want to get it done quickly. It's a nuisance, it's a necessity, it's something we have to have. We just get it done. Let's get it done. It's all the same. It's all insurance. I've just got to have it. It's not until crunch time comes and you think, oh my God, I wish I'd have really, really researched this. If nothing else today that I say is a takeaway, it's got to be this.
I mean, in my case, which, as I say, wasn't sold through you, it's done directly with the culprit one. I was in an emotional state. I didn't want it. I didn't actually want it, but it was a write-off. It was out of pride and joy. Yeah. But it was interesting. So I did really. I got a lot of money, but I let them have it all. I don't want it. You can have it all.
And then, of course, they've sold it somehow.
Well, I saw it on eBay.
Right.
And it was a Silver Cloud 3, and it's an immaculate, but it was completely totaled. And the chassis went up. I don't know what they got for it in yet, but they were asking £15,000 for it, which is about 30% of what I ended up taking off them. Yeah. So they would have taken a huge chunk. But I didn't want it. It's like, you have it, I'll have money.
But you don't need, you don't ever need to be in that situation again. None of us in here do, ever. And if you're not with one of the ones I've mentioned, it might be worth just doing a bit of research, do some homework, shop around. I don't care who you insure with, but I do care if you've got that in your wording.
Yes. I've got most of my vehicles with Howden. Would that be?
Howden is absolutely fantastic at modern cars. We do have a couple of divisions that do the niche, but to the best of my knowledge, there is buyback in the clause. What you could maybe look to do is transfer, if you've got anything that's rare or of value, historic, that you would want back in the event of a claim, give us a call. I've got my card here today. Is that call me personally, and I'll handhold you through the fact find, and then between us we can have a word with local.
I've got 3 classic cars with Howden.
Okay. So it's not for me to say that we want to poach business internally, but if you as a client, your priority is to have your salvage back free of charge, and it's something really treasured, then you may be better off as a client being served by going to the niche brand within group, because ultimately it's still going to be in group. Doesn't to us it doesn't matter as a group where the business sits.
Buying back on, I think.
It's very emotional when it happens.
Yeah.
It does. And
some people might want that back. I personally could know. You don't want to see it in that state, take it away. You dispose of it, give it back. But it's emotional when it happens.
It is, absolutely. So, that's today's main lesson over. You'll be very glad to hear. But this car is called Jemima, and Jemima is magnificent. Now she's all back. And in fact, we had a lovely testimonial from the owners, because when the photos came in, we all sat there saying, it looks twisted. It's not.
So that was a write-off, that was?
An economical insurance write-off.
You can rebuild anything.
She was fine, seriously, literally, new wing, grill.
She could have been twisted.
Wasn't, she was okay. She was okay.
Fortunately not.
What have we got next? Oh, okay. Friends and family. So for those of us that have got more than one friend, I don't have time to make friends, I tell you. you can have up to 4. Every year I say, I really must find some friends. All my friends own cars and are RH clients. No, seriously, friends and family, you can have up to 4. We do like them to be over 25 or over 30, even better. Sometimes, if you really, really push the agenda, we can potentially, but it does cost extra these days, not in your day, Alan, when you first came to us, there was no extra charge. You could potentially have any driver over 25 or over 30, if there's a really, really strong reason for doing so. But the norm, what ERS are comfy with and won't charge any extra for, is this, add up to 4, so 5 including yourself. Okay, good. This is quite a new thing. It's a new thing on me, and we brought out, I know, new policy wording a few months ago, and I was reading it and I thought, I didn't know that.
We've had a member do this as an event.
What, claim on it, or?
No,
Oh.
but do this in their Phantom 5.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, we were on the way up to a Scottish long weekend sort of thing.
Oh gosh.
We stopped off in the Lake District on the way it was just by the motorway, but it was a little hotel we were all staying in, the petrol station there. So fortunately we were staying that night there. And we all pulled in and everyone was filling up, and he filled up and put it in the car park, but then realised straight away that he'd done it wrong. So whilst we're all having dinner, they were out getting the services to come out to drain it, flush it.
Well,
It was the embarrassment to do it in front of
I
everyone.
hope he was an RH client,
I'm sure it was.
and I'm hoping he claimed on
It was
this
a long time ago.
element. Oh, okay, because this is quite a new addition
That was a
to
long
policy. So, yeah, under your standard RH policy, we don't charge any extra for this. If you do make that awful mistake of putting the wrong fuel in, we'll send someone out to drain and flush the fuel tank. And how much does a litre cost these days?
Enough of that.
Topping up the tank with 10 litres of the correct fuel. I mean, that's
It's like 15 quid extra, isn't it?
Yeah. 10 litres of fuel. Tremendous service. Which brings us very, very nicely, and that's Roger Phillips's shadow. Roger is Stag Owners Club committee. He's a great guy. Again, permission to mention Roger's name and use his photo. That's also Roger's stag, which came back from Scotland last summer. Scotland all the way back to the Midlands. It broke down up there. They were devastated because they really wanted to do their Scottish tour. Anyway, all of our RH policies come with at no additional cost, and this service is tremendous. We recover more of these things than we do any other make and model put together under the RH book. We have 28,000 clients, and the volume of Austin 7s that break down is extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. I remember on their Euro tour 4 years ago, it was a weekend, and I must have had 6 calls to my mobile from people in huge distress saying, "Oh, I've broken down, I forgot to got breakdown cards on the table for all of you. Please, take one of those." I think it was a quarter of them failed to proceed. A quarter of them came back on flatbeds of shame from Belgium.
There are no flatbeds left in the country.
Now here's the thing, no problem. So we now have an agreement with Austin 7 Clubs Association. If they're going somewhere a bit far-flung, they email me. Seriously, they will email me first and say, "Right, Emma, this is our trip. This is how many of us. This is where we're staying overnight." And what we do is we email Call Assist. Brian is the team leader manager at Call Assist. You have a very good relationship.
Not in the
And-
future. Oh, if you went on the,
And
if you went to the cloud, yeah.
And so what we do is we let Ryan know. He lets the recovery agents know within France or Belgium or Germany, wherever. Say, right, Austin 7 procession coming, there's 25 of them, be warned, okay? they're on
If you
their
like
own.
it to be needed.
Might be needed. But it's worked really, really well, because on that particular Euro tour, Call Assist, because of the volume of them, I think there were 40 on the trip, and broke down. They did struggle for recovery agents in that extra volume. You know, they're in really far-flung places. We did get them all home eventually, but it wasn't without, yeah.
You should get a couple on no load. You get a couple on.
Yes, get two on. Now, Home Start came about because my Marcos wouldn't start one year on my driveway, and I was really, really fed up with it. So I spoke to the head of breakdown, who at the time was Martin, and I said, Martin, this RH recovery, I said, it's all very well for people who are mechanically minded or fit enough to commit fraud and push their, you know, Rolls Royce a mile up the road. But for me, with my Marcos on my driveway that's not going anywhere, I need help at home. And they looked at the overall book of business and they realised, and I'm not being sexist, but they realised that the majority of RH clients are retired engineers. And they thought, what's the risk? Let's give them all Home Start. And to be fair, we very, very rarely send anyone out for a Home Start. They're normally on the M1 Europe somewhere. But no, Home Start, and actually that Rolls Royce was at home when it broke down. So we've just touched on Home Start, giving call assist the heads up if we've got a procession of Austin 7s going to Europe, so recovery agents are prepped, ready. Okay.
Yes.
And that comes with every policy.
Every single policy. We do not charge any extra for UK, European breakdown recovery, including Home Start.
How many times can you call them out?
It's great point. Okay, so ours is unlimited. Some of our competitors have a capped limit. Would anyone like to guess what it costs to bring a single vehicle back from Germany? Average cost?
Back to growth.
Four.
Yeah.
£4,000. Now, again, a few of our competitors, we are aware of capped limits of between £3,000 to £5,000. So if you have one breakdown in Germany, you will be regretting saving potentially £30 or £50 on your policy if you then got to find £1,000 out of your pocket to get yourself home.
Leave it there.
Yeah. But it is absolutely fantastic, and whenever I've needed call assist, which is a bit more than I'd like to say, with the TVRs and Marcos, what I normally do is they normally phone to proceed when they're at home, because I don't tend to go very far in them. I will phone call assist using the helpline number on the credit card things over there, which I have printed specially for all of our clients. Phone call assist, say, right, TVR broken down at home. I really wanted to go to Paul in Aylesbury next Monday at 8 o'clock in the morning. Can you please do that? Yes, madam, not a problem. So we get it booked in, then they'll text me, say, just a reminder, tomorrow, Trevor, it was Trevor that year, it will be with you by 8 o'clock tomorrow. On the morning, I was actually asleep, 7:30, I'd overslept. Get a phone call, Trevor's on his way. Oh, thanks. Brilliant. Anyway, got up really quickly downstairs, met Trevor, TVR on the flatbed, off it goes, off to Aylesbury. And you really can't fault it. Even when it's gone, they normally phone again or text to say, is everything okay? You know, Trevor's with you, happy. It's extraordinary, and to think it comes at no additional cost. It is a tremendous benefit. Young drivers, here we are. So we have covered young drivers. Now there's Sam, on the right. Yeah, you'll recognise Sam with HOD 22N. That is young Sam. So these are just a few of the young drivers we have helped out in the last probably 4 or 5 years. We don't get many requests, but those that we do, we will do our utmost to assist. This young lady is in, I think it's a Triumph, I can't remember the model. That's obviously a London to Brighton car. Now, yeah, he's actually not sat with the person who should be warranted accompanied. That was just for the photo, just so that you're aware. Mum had just hopped out and let his friend sit with him. But yeah, he's done extraordinarily well. So, okay. Oh, this is a good one. Right. This Austin A35 is called Tango. I have permission to use the story. So Tango belongs to Steve Neathie. Steve was secretary of the Austin A30, A35 Owners Club. and that's Steve's son, young driver, who we also insured. Steve had owned Tango for many, many, many years. This photo, unfortunately, Steve and I between us, because this claim was about 8 to 10 years ago, both of us don't have the photos on file anymore, and I suppose I could have asked ERS, but anyway, that's just representative of burnt out damage. So Tango, fortunately, was not in the garage when the fire occurred. But what did happen is he'd been stripped down for another massive restoration project. So the engine, the gearbox, all the running gear was in the garage, but the car wasn't. So fire, really, really bad fire. Steve tried to claim on his household insurance because he believed that home and contents would cover his engine and his gearbox and all the bits that belong to Tango. Sadly, home insurance said no. So I bumped into Steve at the NEC one November, and he seemed a bit upset. And I said, "What's happened?" Steve's friend, see, car friend. And he said, all my spare bits have been burnt. I don't know what to do. I said, "Well, Steve, have you checked?" And at the time, it was page 28 of policy wording. No. I said, "Well, let's have a look at it together." So we went online, RH website, existing clients, documents, policy wording, page 28. And I said, "You can claim up to vehicle sum insured." How much was Tango insured for? 7,000. I said, "Right." I said, "You've potentially got up to £7,000 worth of spare parts cover." He looked a bit happier at this stage. Then we spent, the pair of us, 6 weeks proving to ERS that the parts existed, because of course he bought them at Bewley for cash, a lot of them. He got about 15% of his £7,000 value evidence. What he had got though, although he hadn't got receipts, and some of them he bought quite a while ago, is he got photographic evidence before the fire and after the fire. And ERS accepted 80% of the claims submitted. They did. So top tip for this one, 2 top tips. 1, keep your receipts if you've got any. If you've paid cash, make a note on your spreadsheet in your car's file. Keep the log, because in the event of a claim you're going to need it, or a very good memory. And 2, if you can, if you've got 2 buildings, try and keep the vehicle separate from the spare parts. Because if you have a fire or a robber and everything goes overnight, the most you can claim is up to vehicle sum insured. Whereas if you've got spare parts separately and you can claim up to vehicle sum insured, you can potentially claim your 7 here and you've still got your 7 over there. But if all this is together, you can only claim a total of 7.
So what would have happened if the car would have been on fire outside of the garage? Because most policies say it's got to be inside the
garaging clause, very good point. Okay, so garaging clause, if you are subject to garaging clause, and depending on vehicle value with RH and postcode, you may or may not be. If it's a high value, there's a very good chance it will be. Nigel, you've got a mix of garage clause or driveway.
Yes.
Yeah. So anything that's got garaging clause on it has to be between the hours of 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. It has to live in the garage when it's at home, when it's all at the risk address.
Because sometimes you get home late and you can't be bothered putting
It won't be covered.
Oh, it's not covered.
It won't be covered. No, don't take the risk. Definitely not. It's not worth it. If the car is in use, so if it's gone to a rally and you've left it, and this is the bizarre thing, if you've left it on show field overnight and it gets stolen, you're covered.
Yeah.
If you leave it in hotel car park and it gets stolen, you're covered. But when it's at home, or where it's supposed to be, according to our statement of fact, it's got to be.
So if you're staying around with friends for the night, it's not insured?
Depends how far away the friend lives. As long as the friend isn't in the vicinity of home address,
It's insured.
then it would be, yes. But if it's anywhere near home, no.
But how far is anywhere near home?
I would say don't take a chance. Don't take, I mean, obviously if your friend is a mile or more away,
it's all
fine, that's fine. Okay. But really, between 10 and 6, I wouldn't want to leave anything special outside. I would much rather it was garage. And even when I do take it places, normally I sit, if I'm in a restaurant, I will sit, try and get a table by, I'm sure we all do it, by the window. Oh, you know, just looking at the, am I interested in my company or looking out the window? Priorities, important. So yeah, don't keep them together if you can help it. This is what we do. I mean, we do this for RREC. We do it for all club partners except this bit here. We give dedicated points of contact, regular team member attendance at events. A good part family, Lydia, it's lovely. Active engagement on your club's forum. Philip Sage, bless him, there was a comment on the forum this week, and it turned out my email address, or RH's email address on the forum, was obsolete because of the changeover from Swansea to Worcester. So anyway, the gentleman who put a comment on there, as soon as Philip emailed me, I went on the forum, encouraged the client to contact me, which he did. He emailed me with his mobile number. I phoned him within about 30 seconds, and he was surprised. This is normal. And I did a full fact find, and I got him on cover on my second phone call. We did a fact find, and he needed to get additional information, and I put him on cover. We were broadly competitive, but it was the salvage benefit and the spare part and the service. Even though his original email had gone into a black hole, I hadn't realised at that point why he hadn't had a response from team. I was thinking, what else gone on with team today? It wasn't team at all. It was my own fault for an out-of-date email address. But and he subsequently on the forum, I think, posted to say thank you and all resolved. But you know, we're there. We're right there. And anything that comes across my desk, I am like a dog with a bone. It will not leave my desk until it's fixed or sorted, or at least explained to the client. You know, I'm not always going to get the response that you want, but I will get a response that we'll both understand. And I think that's so important. And, you know, so often when we're dealing with really big companies, and we have 28,000 clients, it's quite a chunky old book of business, but we're not so big that you can't speak to us. We're not so big that we don't care. We're not so big that in the event of a claim, you don't know who to contact or what to do, and you're left for weeks on end wondering what's happening. Anyone that comes into the Birch Court team and asks for Emma or Aaron or help, we will help them. And normally, anyone that does come and ask for help ends up on my desk or Aaron's in any case, which is good, because we want to know what's going on. And that's another reason why bringing this account in-house to Birch Court, Worcester, part of Howden, we have much greater oversight and control of client journey. You know, what is happening to our clients? What's the temperature today? I've also, in the past 12 months, been trained, you can teach an old dog new tricks, I've been trained to actually get on the phones, and I can do a fact find, start to finish. I can actually bind business. I can do mid-term adjustments, cancellations. I love doing new business. I absolutely love it. I can renew a standard policy as well, or complex multi-vehicle. And so anything now that's thrown at me, whether it's presenting at events or coming to Burley, doing stuff on the forum, doing stuff on Facebook, sorting out invoices.
Do you ever sleep?
No. Sponsorship of events, marketing, budget, strategy. Because often people say to me, what is your role, Emma? I say, well, actually, I do a bit of everything, really. Over the last 13 years, I've turned my hand to anything that touches RH, which is my passion, absolute passion. I'm on it. Claim service, so myself and Aaron hand-holding clients up between us and the RS. Also, now, if none of you have yet written and won Star Letter of the Month, I suggest, because not only will you get a year's free membership of your club, the winner also gets £250 voucher. I don't know if it's come out of Spirit and Speed, Lydia, we might need to put it back in. We did.
I'll have a look, yeah.
It's something that we've done for years. and it was very, very well received. So for the sake of writing a little letter to Spirit and Speed about what you're up to, what you've done, what you've enjoyed with the club, what you're thinking of doing, what's that worth? Over £350?
Of the membership,
Yes.
126, that's a week for this year.
Yeah,
Plus the 250.
plus the 250.
That's only if it's the
It's
best
the winning.
letter,
The star letter.
the star.
The star letter.
You're going to something important.
Right in.
Okay.
Hone your writing skills. It's
Yes.
worth it. It's worth it. So again, just I think kind of now. I've got a quiz for you today as well. I'm not done yet. I'm cake after. So don't just insure classic cars, of course not. We insure classic bikes. As you know, we're part of Howden. We do all vehicle types, insurance for all vehicles: veteran, vintage, classic, future classic, military, even Sherman tanks. And there's no limit on the length or weight of a vehicle that's broken down, which is why we can do military. We also, I need to actually pop that in there, we actually have a standalone scheme for motorhome. Now, even if you've got nothing else with RH except a brand new American RV or a split screen camper or something in between, we can actually insure your camper or motorhome on its own. We don't need a Rolls Royce, we don't need a Bentley or a classic bike, we can just do motorhome. And we've actually got really good rates, and the breakdown comes with it. And legal is only £21, I'm the same team. Anyway, modern, we do our best. We're all aware of the challenges that the private car insurance market has faced over the last 6 to 9 months. If you're an existing client with RH, with your modern car, the good news is we will apply a sensible cap limit. If you're shopping around, then you're going to be more prone to the current new business rates on private car. We will do our best, but I can't promise we're going to be competitive. But if you come to us and say, look, I'm really interested in this Howden Group proposition, let's have a look at that, we can. Marcus and Angus, RH45 ex Haggerty, high net worth, ultra high net worth. Also the High Wycombe, what used to be A-Plan High Wycombe, high net worth. We can also send clients there if we feel, it could be celebrities, we've got facility. Home contents, Fraser is in-house. Fraser will deal with standard homes, standard construction, possibly grade 2 listed. So your basic home requirements in-house. If it's above and beyond, again, RH45 or High Wycombe or Alton. Those are the best centres for home. We've currently got an offer with home. I can't say offers because it sort of cheapens it, but it's actually a really, really good offer. If Fraser, my colleague, cannot beat your standard home and contents insurance cover, like for like, he will transfer £50 to your bank account. So if you fancy 10 minutes on the phone with Fraser, let's see what he can do. And if he can't, he will arrange £50 for you. So it's worth a conversation one morning with Fraser, and he's good. Commercial, club liability, classic trade. So if you or any of your chums are in classic trade, we've got Farnborough. Does anyone know of Aston Lark? Aston Lark, part of Howden? No? So that's also come in-house to Howden. They're very good at classic trade. And a public liability and combined, again, Aston Lark that was now part of Howden, sitting in Farnborough. Tim Phelps and John Castle are brilliant. Again, really good colleagues of mine. I think we've covered quite a bit of ground. Any questions before we do the quiz? And the quiz has got a £100 RH discount voucher for the winner, valid for 12 months.
Oh, didn't tell me at the beginning.
I have a question.
Yes.
When I came to see you a couple of months ago, we were talking about some of the events that RH does.
Yes.
I wondered if you'd like to share a little bit about that.
Stoner Park, I hope I've pronounced it correct. Stoner Park, that's like Oxfordshire. We are attending, excuse me, all of the classic shows. They're called classic shows as an umbrella. organisation arranges car and bike shows throughout the UK. And at Stoner Park, they have two quite prestigious events that we will be attending, and we're working with them to determine if we can have priority parking for RREC at those. We're also at Capesthorne, which is Cheshire, which I'll be at, and Thoresby Park, which is North Nottinghamshire. I also go up to Thoresby, and I think Thoresby and Capesthorne, they have two events a year there as well. So I think, Lydia, you've got the list of shows, yeah? I think it'd be really nice if we could find a way to share that amongst the membership, so that you're all aware of where we RH team are going. Of course, we're also going to be at the NEC Restoration Show in just over 2 weeks' time. We're going to be in Hall 3, right next to Iconic Auctions, and we've got a very, very special car coming on our stand. This is the beauty of being on the phones. So I managed to find a car. It was featured in the film Grand Prix with James Garner and Francoise Hardy. Francoise, and there's a lovely photo of Francoise sitting with James Garner on the car. We've got some great photos of it and a nice backstory. So this is going to be on the RH stand. I think we're going to have like black and white sort of checkered grid around it, and but it's an unrestored period 1960s Lotus. Yeah. Which is really cool.
Stoner's a lovely place. I wanted to
Is
take
it?
that section down. There's a little far out for us. I know one of the sections is
It's a beautiful place.
Is it? I met Bunty. Is it Bunty who was the lady running it?
Okay.
And she wanted more Rolls Royces. This was a couple of years ago. I was there with a mate, and it's a fabulous setting.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to take our section down with timing and sorting it out. And I think one of the neighbouring sections is going there this year.
Good.
Going down there. But it was a beautiful setting. Really nice place.
Then I said the BBC held their concourse there about
Yes.
5 years ago.
That's right.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
they
it.
did. That was it.
It's kind of beautiful. It's very narrow though, isn't
Yes.
it, that valley? So
Yes.
you can't get that many cars up
No,
in the top when you
A
have
few
to park.
people were a bit worried they were on a tilt.
Yes, I remember
It
that.
was.
But if you're in the flat, you're right by the house.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
not many cars can fit, so it's kind of limited space, but she wanted more cars. It's wonderful.
It's a couple of people had sideways downhill. So
Yeah.
But no, definitely, events that we're attending. I think it's a really good opportunity to get the sections involved.
Had a lot of cars
They
there.
did.
it was one of it was a really popular one.
Yeah.
It was about six years
I
ago.
remember.
And it was just a lucky day.
Yeah, if it had been
Yeah.
worse, you'd have all sliding
Sliding
doors.
off down the hill.
And my final offer to everybody, and I'm sure you're all sick of me by now, is I'd be delighted to come along to your section, like your monthly meet, and present, very similar to what I've done today, key benefits to a even wider audience. Yeah, always happy to travel and come and see you face to face, and spread the love and the passion for RH and what we do day in